Hello everyone and welcome to REL's Division 10C Week 3 preview. This is Wolpus and Colta and thank you for joining me. Unfortunately this week my co-host Troubleshoot was not able to make the program, but we will go ahead and ride along right without him. So this week I'll be diving into Week 2's matches, diving into the interesting tidbits. Won't be showing any replays, but I will be kind of going over a kind of play-by-play on the replays I was able to see. And then we will preview Week 3's matchups. I'll give you some predictions, and we will get on our way. Should be a short and sweet episode. Right on to it. The first match we have for Match Day 2 is going to be Grindle's Safety Hazards versus PDX Bosco's Stump Force. Now, this was an interesting matchup. I was able to watch the replay of this 1-1 draw, and it was very exciting to watch. In the first half, we had the ladder, the troll. As you can see, he got the MVP for the match there. The very first turn, his very first block, he was able to kill a 2 SPP Longbeard who was on the line of scrimmage. PDX Bosco had a chance to set a 0 SPP Longbeard on the line, but instead lost to 2 SPP. So the ladders came out swinging and banged on some dwarfs and got an immediate kill to start the game. Later on in the drive, PDX Bosco had a chance to get a 2-die on the ball on turn 4, but it elected to add assists on a troll, allocated resources to the troll, and blocked and knocked him down with a Troll Slayer. This allowed Grindle and the Safety Hazards to 3+ dodge, 3+ handoff to swing the ball to the far end of the other side of the field and keep the ball safe. Later on, a blitz with the ball carrier allowed Flammable, a Skaven blitzer, to score a touchdown on turn 6, also leveling him up to level 2. Also during the match, Sweltering Heat was able to make its presence known. It removed 2 dwarfs and 2 underworld for the next drive, still in the first half. Turn 7, Ladders, the troll, one of my favorite players, with already 1 kill in the game, was instructed to toss a goblin at the ball carrier. Instead, he was thinking about those orange slices at halftime and decided to eat unwanted touch a 5 SPP goblin as a snack. His second kill of the first half. Unfortunately, this one was one of his own players. After that, not enough players on the dwarf side allowed the Safety Hazards to sack the ball carrier and thwart any offensive threat from the Stump Force to end the first half. Second half, Sweltering Heat takes Ladders, the troll, off the field to begin the second half. A brutal blow for the Underworld team. This allowed the dwarfs to force an overcommit to one side from the Safety Hazards, and the Stump Force was able to easily drive down the field. Suffice for the draw, Stump Force was able to stall that out for 1 turn, but decides to, even though he could have stalled it out for more, to score on turn 14, allowing a chance for the Safety Hazards to take the win. Next drive, Grindle loses a reroll on a 1-9 line of scrimmage block, but succeeds to pick up and hand off to a goblin. This time Ladders is able to make a successful throw, but the goblin sticks the landing next to a tackle having Longbeard, and a failed dodge later causes a turnover, and the Safety Hazards lose the ball. Not enough time on the clock for the Stump Force to take the lead, and this match ends in a 1-1 draw. Both teams played well, and it was a hard-fought draw. Grindle Safety Hazards goes to 0 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss, and PDX Bosco Stump Force goes to 0 wins, 1 draw, and 1 loss himself. Exciting thing about this game is Ladders, with 2 kills, 1 dwarf, 1 goblin, was able to get the MVP, rightfully so, leveled him up, and of course this man rolled block. He is going to be force ranking with this division, and I expect him to get multiple kills throughout the season. So already leading away to what could be an eventual first team All-American in this division. This man Ladders is a force to be reckoned with. Next up, we have the Morg Smashes versus the Rowdy Rebbl Rouses. In this matchup, unfortunately, I was not able to check out the replay. It didn't give me the option within here. I'm not exactly sure why that is. However, what I can say is I was able to use the Rebbl.net. And so I know some of the people in this division who might be listening to this recap could be new to Rebbl. One thing that is set up is the Rebbl.net, who it has been orchestrated by MajorByte, one of the active members on the Discord. As you can see, he's the one that's kind of putting together the site. But basically, what Rebbl.net is it keeps track of the division, it keeps track of all the results, it keeps track of the player stats, even more importantly. So what I was able to do was use Rebbl.net to dive into more of the details surrounding this game than what could be presented just on the post-game recap screen that you can see here, or that you're brought to after the end of the game. So definitely recommend going to Rebbl.net to check out the site, and if you get a chance, give a shout out to MajorByte. And you can also, if you know anything about programming or anything, or you might just need some additional help, I'd recommend trying to reach out to him via Discord to see if there's anything you can do to help out the site. So it really is a fantastic piece of resource that we should be using more often. So what I was able to see was within this game, it was a 1-1 draw, as we can see. 7 armor breaks for the Orcs, 11 for the Rowdy Rebbl Rousers. A fantastic MVP for the Nurgle team, getting the Breeze to Nurgle up there. Additionally on that, we saw just some of the things that we saw. The 47 successful blocks for the Orcs, 54 for the Nurgle team. Not a lot of armor was being broken. Both these teams are pretty high armor teams. I guess I was a bit surprised that they couldn't inflict a little bit more damage on the Rotters. Looking at the SPP, pretty low across the board. Just 1 touchdown each. MVPs looks like a pass and a couple Cas for the Nurgle team. Looking at the dice rolls here, the Orc team, one thing that they were able to achieve was they were able to kill a Rotter with their one kind of lone casualty they were able to cause. Gluru, the Orc Blitzer, killed nothing special. The Rotter, that is, well, nothing special, obviously, as he was able to just die in the second game of the season. But one thing you can see looking at the Orc team, Morg Smashers, they were able to fail 3 of the 10 dodges they made. Now, that is tough to tell without looking at the game at exactly what would be the expected percentage of that should be, but I have a feeling that is skewed a little bit on the low side, unfortunately. However, if you're an Orc team, making 10 dodges is usually not ideal. Next thing was looking at their block dice. They definitely had a little bit of a skewed way towards the skull. So it looks like the Nurgle got a little bit benefit of decent dice, but like I said, unfortunately with me not being able to watch the game, all I can say is we saw the 1-1 tie here. And so hopefully we can see what these teams do for the next week. I'll be trying to pay attention to their games, trying to watch the replay, but so unfortunately I have limited information on here there. What I can say is the Morg Smashes, after this matchup, was able to go 1 win, 1 draw, no losses, and Atomics was able to do no wins, his second draw, no losses after this matchup. Next up, I have the Torture Club of Truck and his 1 win, 0 draw, 0 losses Nurgle team. The Torture Club versus Chowshawk, I think that's how that's pronounced, the famous Wizards, with no wins, no draws, and 1 loss. And we were able to see an upset here. The High Elves came out on top with a 2-0 victory. Now, I was able to watch the replay of these two teams. I'll let you know what I saw. The first half, defensively, Hawk set up his Mighty Blow / Block Blitzer, Dumbledore, on the line of scrimmage. It was a bit interesting, as that is probably his most important player on the team, at least the one that has the highest potential. A little interesting setting him out the line of scrimmage just to get Mighty Blow hit right back in his face. So definitely don't recommend that Hawk moving forward. I know with the following drives that wasn't the case, but a little bit of questioning there to set up the Mighty Blow Block Blitzer on the line of scrimmage. The Torch Club were able to take advantage of that by knocking him over and stunning the Blitzer, and then they were able to get off a 4-assist foul that just led to another stun, fortunately. However, in turn 2, the Torture Club was able to torture, once again, poor Dumbledore with another 4-assist foul, and that promptly knocked him out. So the Mighty Blow Blitzer had just zero influence on the first half, mostly just because he was put on the line of scrimmage. So the Torture Club was able to open up the drive with your typical Agility 4 Pestigore passing to your other Agility 4 Pestigore, was able to level up Dr. Oakson to his level 3. On turn 4, the Torture Club blitzed the Beast of Nurgle, Dr. Painless, who promptly rolled to both downs. The Beast of Nurgle was able to just kind of eat the both down instead of re-rolling with the loner, and he promptly hurt himself to cause a turnover and removed himself off the pitch. However, he was able to regen and later come back into the game. On turn 5, Nurgle Warrior Dr. Angle attempted to roll 2 GFIs to pin down 3 High Elves in an attempt to move the ball up the field. However, he was met by double ones and a knockout of himself. The Torture Club has removed more of their own men than the Elves by turn 5 of the first half. Now, this was able to lead to a sack on the ball carrier by none other than everybody's favorite leader thrower, Gandalf. The famous Wizards were able to pick up the ball and complete a 2+ pass into a 3+ catch, where the Crimson King, a catcher, was able to trot easily to the end zone. Next drive, the famous Wizards were able to receive a perfect defense. However, they set up their defense on the entire opposite side of where the Agility 4 Pestigore that Truck set up as his potential scoring threat. I thought it was kind of an interesting setup. He via the perfect defense, overcommitted entirely to one side of the field. This allowed Truck to push to the far right or the far other side of the field, and he was able to set himself up into a pretty favorable position to score. The Wizards then opened up their turn 7 with immediate failed dodge with no reroll, and this allowed Dr. Black to score if, and only if, he could roll a 2+ GFI with no reroll. And as everyone can predict, he was tripwired and failed to score. A very, very fortunate event for Shellshock. During the second half, the Torture Club set up aggressively on defense and loaded the line of scrimmage. The famous Wizards did not line up to counter, and that prompted them to open up the drive with a 1-die blitz after they were able to pick up and secure the ball. The blitz resulted into a skull, re-rolled into a skull, leaving an opportunity for Truck. Truck was able to send his Pestigore Dr. Black to sack the ball carrier and leave the ball free. However, his other Agility 4 Pestigore, Dr. Oakson, was set up 8 squares away from the line of scrimmage, pretty far back from the line of scrimmage. Usually you see your impact players a little bit closer than that, and he might have been possibly forgotten as he made absolute zero action on the turn. And there was no recovery after the sack. The famous Wizards were able to pick up the ball, but attempted a 3+ handoff because of disturbing presence, and promptly rolled a double 1 to cause another turnover, and yet it provided another opportunity for the Torture Club. The Torture Club the Torture Club responded by not doing much. They attempted a 3+ dodge by a Rotter that led to his 3rd and last team reroll being used. He was able to place some elves on the beast, and then rolled a double skull, which led to a turnover on a preceding block. All this without once again moving their second Agility Pestigore at all. The famous Wizards then did wizardly elf things with a 4+ pickup, a 3+ pass, and a 3+ catch to send his catcher, their Crimson King, who scored earlier, all the way down the pitch from all the Nurgle players. From then, at that point, there was some easy positioning, and Crimson King was able to perform a 2 passes to level up to his level 3, and Carl, the Invoker, a lineman, caught the touchdown to level up to level 2. Then we see a 2-0 Famous Wizards win to go 1 win, no draws, 1 loss within division. Overall, this was a fairly messy matchup. A lot of rerolls being used early in halves, potential opportunities not being able to be capitalized in both teams. Ultimately, the Famous Wizards were able to position themselves enough, made the rolls when they needed to come out on top on this one. Next up we have Gorsh, no wins, 1 draw, Knights of T Bretonian team facing off against Pipple Jams, a few ornery underness who lost his first matchup, so 0 wins, no draws, and 1 loss. Unfortunately, this was another match that I was not able to view the replay, and I was able to check out on Rebbl.net. We can say it was a high-scoring matchup. 5 total touchdowns, 3-2 win for Pipple Jams and his Pro Elves. We saw that there was 4 passes that were completed. The Brits were able to outblock the Elves by 50-22, and were able to lead with 6 knockouts and 4 casualties, even though their block dice was skewed towards the skulls a little bit. The Elves were able to succeed 42 out of 48 dodges, and so I'm guessing the Elves were able to do elf things and were able to outposition and outscore the Brits, obviously. One awesome thing was that there was a lot of solid SPP went around for both teams. You can see 22 SPP for the Knights of T, led by English Breakfast, a blitzer, and his 8, who scored 2 touchdowns and caused 1 injury. The Ornery Onanus achieved 15 SPP, led by Dunstan Dolphin Flogger, great name, who's also a blitzer, and he had 6 from 2 touchdowns. So once again, for match day 3, I'll be sure to pay a little bit more attention to these teams, as I was not able to watch the replay. In fact, unfortunately, I haven't been able to watch any of Gorsh's Knights of T games. I wasn't able to see his first or second week game, so I'll be sure to catch up on his third week matchup, is for sure. Definitely want to watch him play. And last but not least, we have the matchup of the week between 2 division favorites. The Squeaky Blinders, coached by Randos and Maximus, versus Razzlestorm's Rats against Teen Stars. Both are Skaven teams who won their first week's matchup. In the first half, what we saw was the Squeaky Blinders opened up the game by receiving in the rain. Turn 2, things get interesting. Rats against Teen Stars, or we're going to call them Rats, R-A-T-S. Plays a shutdown style defense by preventing the Squeaky Blinders from advancing up the sideline. Razzlestorm sends their 0 SPP blitzer Harry Styles down the seam, who slams a shoulder into Grace Colby's lineman's face so hard that his, or her, face caves in and bleeds out on the pitch, leading to a death. Hell of a way to get the first 2 star player points for blitzer Harry Styles. With the Rats committed to stopping the advancement and score early, Rando Maximus wisely swings to the other side of the pitch. This causes the Rats to be out of position. Interestingly enough, RATS, or the Rats, on turn 4, decide to not continue their shutdown defense, and instead focuses on setting up a 3-die blitz on Blinder's thrower, who was in the middle of the pitch attempting to screen off. The 3-die blitz took 4 assists and a Mighty Blow blitz that ultimately resulted in a push. I'm a little bit surprised that Razzlestorm ended up changing his style of defense mid-drive, and he allocated so many resources to 3-die thrower, but he did not agree to reroll the block. Instead, he happily took, well, maybe not happily, but he took the push, and it seemed like a missed opportunity at that point. A couple turns later, Razzlestorm and his Rats Against Teen Stars proceeded to roll 7 push results and 7 blocks on turn 5. The Squeaky Blinders had a chance to stall, but instead elected to score on turn 7 with gutter runner Michael Gray. Next drive, the Squeaky Blinders implemented a wide defensive setup. The Rats were able to punch a hole right down the middle and set up a cage on the opponent's 14-yard line with gutter Caleb McFallon having the ball. The Blinders then send Finn Colby, their 2-hedge gunner, into a cage dive for a 1-die hit on the ball. He rolls a push and re-rolls into attacker down, or attacker push, defender stumbles, but no tackle keeps McFallon on his feet with the ball. Turn 8, the Rats were able to clear defenders and roll a 2+, 2+, 2+ for the equalizer before the half. McFallon scores and levels up to level 3. Second half, the rain continues, and a pitch evasion on the kickoff knocks down 7 defenders for the Squeaky Blinders and 3 of the offense. The Rats, RATS, opened the drive by sending 5 players to the 12th yard line to provide assists on a foul on the 2-heads gutter, who was down from the PI. The gutter was knocked out for the drive. With not much left to do, the Blinders set up a 2-die blitz with their 2 players left standing and promptly rolled a push. The Rats were able to march the ball way down the field and made a pass from one gutter to the other, and he could have scored this turn if wanted, but elected to stall. Important if you see the final score of this match. Turn 11, the Rats were able to move the ball all the way down to the 24th yard line, 1 square away from scoring, but elects to stall and screen. The Blinders answer by 3-dying a gutter who is screening. The gutter is knocked down, stunned, and allows a Mighty Blow blitzer to base the ball. And yes, I said base the ball. The Rats proceed to surf the Mighty Blow blitzer with 3 pushes. This, however, abandons their screen, and, however, they elect to, once again, attempt to stall. This left a wide-open 1-die blitz from gutter Michael Gray onto Blodger gutter, could be pronouncing this wrong, Wittick, who is carrying the ball. The result is push, reroll, pow, and the ball is free. Fumble risky, fumble risky. The ball is popped into the crowd, who proceed to throw it all the way to the midline next to the out-of-bounds marker on the other side of the field. It's an absolute brutal blow to the Rats, who are relying on Blodge. Turn 13, the ball is free. Both teams don't quite have the movement to pick up. Instead, they both huddle around the ball. There's a scrum around the ball to attempt to scatter. The Blinders set up a 2-die against a Russell gutter and proceeds to roll a result of both down, and the Russell gutter eats the both down result to cause a turnover. Turn 14, the Rats pick up the ball with the Russell gutter. The Blinders respond with a 3+ dodge with the lino, and 2+ dodges with the gutter to get a 2-die sack on the ball carrier, and of course rolls a POW. Ball is popped free and lands into the hands of the lino who provided the assist. Turn 15, the lino is promptly blitzed, and the ball is easily knocked out free, but the ball once again lands into the crowd, who tosses it to the other side of the pitch, this time in the Rats' own territory. With only 3 players standing, the Blinders are able to run towards the ball and pick it up with their thrower and place a gutter in scoring position. Turn 16, the Rats are easily able to get a 2-die on the ball with blitzer Harry Styles, who rolls a skull and both down, and then very scarily re-rolls into a POW. The ball is popped free for the 4th time this drive. Last-ditch effort, a gutter picks up the ball, but fails a 3+ pass to prevent the Rats from scoring the go-ahead touchdown. The Blinders proceed to fail the GFI pickup with the thrower, or the GFI to pick up the ball with a thrower, and without a team re-roll, the match is called a draw. a definite hard-fought game between two of the division's top coaches. Watching this replay and watching, like I said, almost every team in the division, I will say that Rando Maximus and Razzlestorm are the two coaches who consistently play the best throughout the game. Not only that, they also have two of the top teams in the division with Skaven, who start off right out the gates with very good team. So I do expect them to remain towards the top of the table throughout the division or throughout the season. Unfortunately for the Blinders, they were able to get a Journey Lino MVP. Player was not found, we can see, so he was let go. So unfortunately, the 5 SPP went to waste for the Blinders. For the Rats, they were able to get a block on Natalia Dyer. Not a lot of SPP this game, but it was high action. It was awesome to watch. Really hoping these two teams end up facing off against each other during the Swiss at the end of the season. So that wraps up the recap. Diving now into match day 3. We can see, as I am a bit late in getting this out, that one match has already been completed with the Stunt Force defeating the Knights of T Bretonian team. I will not be going over this, as this will be during next week's recap. However, I'll be talking a little bit about the rest of the 4 games on the matchups that haven't been played yet. We do have Trucks the Torture Club versus Rando Maximus Squeaky Blinders. This is going to be a Nurgle team versus the Skaven team. My prediction is going to be going to the Skaven team. I just mentioned how well I thought they played. They have a really good team. I think the Torture Club had their opportunity to beat the High Elves, but were not able to capitalize. There's a few times that I felt like they weren't able to move their Agility 4 Pestigors into position to win. So I think that a little bit of lack of focus is making me lean towards the Squeaky Blinders to win this matchup. Next we have Mork Smashes, Our Name is Legion's Orcs, versus Railstorm's Rats against Teen Stars. Now this is going to be the matchup of the week. We have Chopshoe's team, the Mork Smashers, who he said at the beginning of the season was going to win the division, versus who I said with Razzlestorm's Rats against Teen Stars to win the division. So 2 heavy division favorites. For Razzlestorm, it's back-to-back tough opponents. Mork Smashers is a team that has the Orcs. I believe they have a tackle piece as well to stop the Skaven. However, I do believe that Razzlestorm has proven to be the better coach for the first 2 games of the season, and so I'm going to lean towards Razzlestorm to come out with the victory on that one again. I would love to see Our Name is Legion to prove me wrong here. Next up, we have the Underworld's Safety Hazards versus a few Ornery Onanus. I am going to lean towards the Pro Elves winning this matchup. I feel like the Safety Hazards don't quite have enough firepower to knock out enough Elves for them to prevent them from scoring. However, one bold prediction I have this game is I think Ladders, the Troll, will kill an Elf. Mark it down. Ladders will kill an Elf. Finally, we have Atomic's, the Rowdy Rebbl Rousers Nurgle team versus the Famous Wizards. The Wizards get both of their Nurgle matchups 2 of the first 3 weeks of the season. He played very well against the first Nurgle team. He was able to outposition them, was able to get the 2-0 victory, albeit sloppy at times. And that's going to lead me to go for the Rowdy Rebbl Rousers to win this week, is who I'm predicting. I think they play very solid across the board, and they have a chance to knock out a few Elves and put themselves in prime position to move up towards the top of the leaderboard. Taking a quick look at the leaderboard, like I said, there are 2 teams here that have already played 3 matches. But we already have every team within division has either a draw or a loss, and there is quite a bit of a clump towards the top of the division. So it's anyone's game so far. It's anyone's division. Anyone can string off enough victories to push themselves back up and towards the table. Also, with the chance to have a Swiss at the end of the season, if you are towards the top of the table at the end of the first 9 games, you could find yourself matched up against the other top teams of the division, which will allow you to push yourself up even further. So, we said it before the season started that I thought this was going to be a really highly competitive division, and I think that's proven to be true. Now, there's still 3 teams that are looking for their first win. I'm really excited to see those teams do it. I think every team will have at least 1 win sometimes this season, but even those teams that haven't had 1 win have already had at least a couple draws or a draw, so they've been shown that they can compete. So that's all I got this week. I appreciate everyone being patient with me. I know it was late getting it out this week, so I do apologize for that. Next week, I'm hoping to have Chopshoe on the cast. I'm hoping to bring in one of you. If any of you are interested in being on the cast, reach out to me or Chopshoe, let us know, and we'll get you on. I am planning to record the next recap on Wednesday. But other than that, thank you all for being with me, and I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I wish you all great luck in your next matchup. Till next time.